US Navy once tried to make warships glow in the dark. Not for show, for stealth. In the dead of a 1943 night off the coast of California, a destroyer slipped into the water near San Diego. Its hull wasn't painted. It wasn't wrapped in radar-absorbing tiles. It was coated with something alive. A living skin of microalgae, genetically tweaked in a classified lab to pump out infrared light. The idea: make the ship invisible to enemy radar and sonar, like a jellyfish in the deep, but for war. They called it Project Luminous. The files sat in a vault for 70 years, until a historian found them, and what he read made his stomach drop. Why? Because the algae didn't just glow. It spread. Fast. Within weeks, the ship wasn't hiding. It was a lighthouse, a blinding beacon on the horizon. Radar operators lit up. Sonar pinged. The entire fleet nearly gave itself away. And it wasn't just the glow that betrayed them. The water around the ship turned sickly green. Fish floated belly up. Kelp withered. The algae had mutated. It grew faster than the scientists predicted, and it killed everything it touched. The Navy pulled the plug. But the files didn't stay buried. They surfaced in 2018. Now, scientists are quietly reviving the idea, but this time, they're using it for medicine, not war. But the question lingers: what if Project Luminous had worked? What if the ocean itself had been the stealth weapon? And what if the cost of invisibility was the death of the sea? This is the story of a ship that was supposed to disappear. But instead, it lit up the night like a neon sign, and the Navy had to scramble before the whole world saw. It started with a single phone call in 1942. Call from the Chief of Naval Operations to a biologist at Woods Hole. Dr. Harold Blum was known for studying deep-sea creatures, but no one in the Navy cared about squid. They cared about invisibility. They wanted a ship that wouldn't show up on radar, a ship that wouldn't echo on sonar, a ship that could sail through enemy waters unseen. And Blum had an idea. He'd been studying bioluminescence, the way jellyfish and plankton light up when disturbed. He proposed coating a warship in a layer of glowing algae. The algae would emit infrared light. Infrared doesn't bounce off metal like radar waves. It blends into the background heat of the ocean. A ship coated in glowing algae would look like a patch of warm water. Like a whale's breath on a cold night. The Navy said yes. They called it Project Luminous. For 2 years, the team worked in secret. They cultured algae in vats. They engineered strains to emit specific wavelengths. They tested coatings on small boats. And then, in 1945, they coated the USS Eldridge. Yes, the same ship rumored to have teleported in the Philadelphia experiment. They didn't teleport it, but they did make it glow. On the first night, the algae flared to life. A soft, eerie green-blue glow pulsed along the hull. The crew stood on deck, stunned. The ship looked like it was alive, like a creature from the deep, but then the glow intensified. It didn't stop at the hull. It spread into the water. A glowing halo expanded around the ship. Fishermen miles away reported seeing a strange light. Coast Guard cutters scrambled. They thought they'd found a UFO. The Navy panicked. They sent divers down. The water was thick with glowing algae. It coated the ship's hull. It clung to the propellers. It clogged the intakes. And it wasn't just floating. It was growing fast. The algae had been engineered to reproduce. But no one had accounted for the mutation. The strain had evolved. It consumed oxygen. It released toxins. Within days, the water turned foul. Fish died by the thousands. Kelp forests turned white. The algae had become a plague. The Navy had to act. They scrubbed the hull. They pumped chlorine into the water. They burned the contaminated algae. But the damage was done. Project Luminous was over. The files were locked away, and the idea was buried for decades. Until 2018, A marine biologist at MIT was reviewing old patents. She found the Project Luminous files, and she froze because she recognized the algae strain. It was the same one used in modern biocamouflage experiments, but this time they weren't coating ships, they were coating cancer cells. The idea was to make tumors glow, so surgeons could see them. They were turning biology into light, for healing, not war. But the question remained, what if Project Luminous had succeeded? What if the Navy had a fleet of glowing ships? Would it have changed World War II? Would it have changed the ocean? The files show the Navy knew the risks. They knew the algae could mutate. They knew it could kill. But they tried it anyway. Because the stakes were too high, the war was on, and invisibility meant survival. But the ocean fought back, and the Navy lost. Now the files are public, and scientists are asking the same question. Can we control life? Or does life always control us? The story of Project Luminous isn't just about a failed experiment. It's about the cost of innovation and the price of being unseen. It's about the ocean's power to reveal what we try to hide. And it's a warning, because the next time we try to bend nature to our will, nature might just bend back. And this time, we might not be able to scrub the stain away. Subscribe for more buried science that changed the world. Hit the bell so you don't miss the next one.